Turning Point, it is good to be back with you again. You know, I got in last night, I was watching some of the clips. They told me you guys were rowdy out here in Phoenix, Arizona. And as I step out, I see it for myself. Today, in 2025, as we turn the calendar into 2026, the heartbeat of the conservative movement is here at Turning Point USA. It's interesting to be back. I never thought I would be back under these circumstances. Our movement has really been defined by two fighters. You ever seen those memes, choose your fighter? Everybody's seen those, right? Our movement has been defined by two fighters. The first is the 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump. He is a FAFO fighter. That's him. That's who he is. And God bless him, that's what our movement needs. But the other fighter that has defined our movement is Charlie Kirk. I remember after his assassination, like everybody else, I'm trying to figure out how to get my mind in order, how to get my emotions in order. And what came to my mind and what came to my spirit was the verse that defined the other fighter of our movement, Charlie Kirk. And that's found in 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. You see, Charlie was a fighter who wore the armor of God. He was a fighter that tried to embrace those even when they disagreed with him, even when they vehemently disagreed with him, when they disrespected him. He still tried to find some scintilla of a common ground to reach those hearts, to reach those minds. In part, that is what has built Turning Point USA. Because the young people in this room, from whatever high school you come from, whatever college you attend, the conservative movement was not speaking to you until Charlie Kirk came along. You see, I find we're in this moment in time where now everybody's trying to figure out, well, who's really conservative? Well, who's really a fighter? Who's really going to stand on principle? Who's going to lead the movement into the future? And I think the real answer is found in, what do we believe? What do we stand for? Do we stand for Western civilization? Do we stand for Judeo-Christian values? Do we stand for free market capitalism, protecting life, strong borders, legal immigration based around assimilation and Americans, not foreign nations? A limited federal government that is controlled by the confines of the United States Constitution, the nuclear family, protecting puberty. Boys are meant to be men. Girls are meant to be women. And together, when they find each other, they create a family, and that family unit is the very nucleus of a society that respects individuals, that allows you to amass goods, that protects your freedom of speech, that lets you worship your God. In the very essence, the nuclear family, man and women together raising kids, is what continues the great experiment that is the United States of America. But I find in this moment we're trying to figure out, well, who's going to be the next? That's the wrong question. What comes next is, what are we going to stand on? What are we going to believe in? And here's the broader question: how are we going to define the boundaries of the movement? You see, I'm very clear on this. I don't have a spirit of fear and timidity. I don't. I believe in standing firm on what you believe in. You go to any quarter to debate it. If someone disagrees with you, fine, so what? But if you're gonna be in this movement long term, you gotta have a spirit of power. You gotta be willing to go to places they don't wanna hear from you. You gotta be willing to stand for the ideals that make America great. You know, like law and order, like standing behind our police. But with that spirit of power comes a spirit of love. I know on social media, the cool thing now is to, what is it? I'm 47, so I'm a little older now. What is it, ratioing? That's the thing? I ratioed you. That's the new metric of having a spirit of power? No, it's the metric of being an asshole. That's what it is. What? As a movement, we are now going to cut each other down so somebody looks taller than the next person? Ladies and gentlemen, Turning Point USA, that is how we lose. That is not how we win. And I believe that we have to have a spirit of yes power, but also a spirit of love, because there are young people in the United States who will never go to a Turning Point event. But you have to find them where they are and try to figure out how to communicate them without degrading them. That is the future of convincing hearts and minds to choose the conservative path, to choose Western civilization in America. The last piece is having a spirit of self-control. If you really think that coping and seething is the path to victory, you're fooling yourselves. I've been in the conservative movement for 15 years. Here's what I know. The path to victory is a movement united based around core principles that knocks doors, that goes speaks to voters, that registers them to vote, and gets them out to the polls. That's victory. Victory is finding leaders who stand by these principles. And do you agree with them every single time? No. But you agree with them far more than we will ever agree with the radical Democratic left. Because democratic socialism is the thing that will destroy America. Radical Sharia is the thing that will destroy America. Stealing puberty from young people is the thing that will destroy America. And so what I choose to do now is I choose to build a movement and be a part of a movement that stands on principle, that stands on strength, that loves the people in the movement, even sometimes when they piss you off, but has a spirit of self-discipline. Because what I know is you can't form a winning unit if you can't stay focused on the mission at hand. Two years ago, Turning Point, the conservative movement, we were all united because we were witnessing in real time democratic socialism crossing the entire United States of America. And as a movement, we stood firm, we stood tough, and we said hell no, and Donald Trump is now president of the United States. But look, the job's not done. There are elections next year, and you know what? We have to go back into the well. We got to find that reservoir. We got to know what we stand for and what we believe in, and whether it's here in Arizona with Andy Biggs, if it's Wisconsin with Tom Tiffany, members of Congress up and down the list, state legislators, state senators, city councilmen, we have to continue to replenish our ranks, and we only do that when we work together. For you young people in the future, let me give you some notes from your future. It's easy to tear somebody down. It's much harder to build somebody up. And the only way that you build a consistent movement is by building each other up around principles and ideas. That's the only way. And I'm here to communicate to you one last thing. If we stand together, if we work together, if we fight together, based upon the Constitution, based upon our Declaration, based upon the principles of liberty, economic, religious, individual, there will be no stopping our conservative movement. Be the fighter that we need. Be the fighter that's going to make America last for another 250 years. This is what's in front of us, Turning Point. I'm going to stand with you every step of the way. Will you stand with me? Will you fight with me? God bless you, Turning Point. Merry Christmas, everybody. And God bless America.